All right, so amazing to be here. A huge privilege. I love Portugal. I'm from Brazil, actually, and I'm living in California the last 2 years. But then, as Roberto just mentioned, I used to go to California since 2001 for Java 1. I presented at Java 1 for 12 times. And I'm really, I love California. I love the history about the Silicon Valley. I used to go there guiding company owners 3 times. So I try to study a lot of the history around the Silicon Valley. And so this time I try to prepare this talk to see how we have arrived in artificial intelligence and generative AI, which are the topics that the industry are talking a lot. And so this talk is a kind of reflection and thinking the big, important discoveries, inventions, innovations that happen in the world to make the computer history, you know. So for me, it's been an amazing technology journey for the last 30 years, where I could live important changes, including the birth of internet, the cloud revolution, and for sure the AI. So if you plan to go to California, or if you plan to go to Brazil, drop me a message. It will be a big pleasure to make more connection with you, and probably we can do a barbecue, or we can visit the Computer History Museum in Mountain View. And then JNation is a very famous Java home for developers, speakers, and the Java community at all. And I don't want to miss the opportunity to say how important is Java at Amazon. And AWS is our main programming language. There we have tens of thousands Java applications in production. Many of them running on Java 8. And then we are using a lot of generative AI. I don't like to over-push the topic around generative AI, but there are many places that we can use it to take advantage. At Amazon, we are using a lot of generative AI to migrate old Java workloads to newer versions, migrating libraries, migrating deprecated code, migrating the Java runtime itself. So it's amazing to see. And many of the AWS cloud services, they are running on Java. When you are using some of the services, we don't disclose which service we use Java, but we have many big services at AWS running on Java. So we really rely on Java. We really love Java at AWS. And what I'm doing there, I am a Java developer advocate. I am leading the Amazon Java Language Advisory Board. I'm working with the guys from the Java runtime, the Amazon Corero, the Lambda team, Amazon Q. And so in general, I'm helping to make AWS a better place for Java developers, and also supporting the Java community, which is a huge family and super important part of my life is the friends that I did with Java. It's not just business, it's not just money, but I really have a big Java family, and I feel super good of having this. And I have a huge privilege to be working with this guy, James Gosling, the Java creator. So I have monthly meetings with Gosling. He's a super humble guy, and it's amazing to be so close with someone that created something that really changed our lives. I have many friends that they have house, they have family, they have kids because of Java. So James is a super nice guy. I met him the first time at Java 1 2002 when I interviewed him for the first time. And then now James is being my career mentor at AWS. So this talk is about the history of the computers and how we have arrived here, how we arrived in what we call as AI era. AI era is what we are living these days. And how we have arrived there. At the beginning, when we start the society, it was all about surviving. And we just need 4 main elements: water, food, air, and shelter. So we spend a lot of years doing discoveries, doing collaboration, inventing things, competing. Competition is something that is really pushing the humans to make it better stuff. Production, automation, prediction, and then we can come back to, if you have the prediction, you have the cycle of discover, collaboration, invention, competition, production, automation, and prediction again. And it's clear for me when I was preparing this talk that we have this cycle repeating over 1,000 years, repeating over and over. So some of the radical change that we had in the past was the first one, the control of fire. It changed a lot what we can do, how comfortable can be our house, and how we can feel more protected, how we can have light. And then after that, this one earlier, we start having the control of time. We start measuring the time with precision 5,000 years BC. And then the first super important invention that we see in the computer history at all is the wheel. So we invented the wheel 4,000 years BC. And after that, like 2,000 years later, we already have the wheel being used in many different kinds of projects, like chariots or war chariots. We were using the wheel to make war, to be better in the war, to compete in the sports. We use the wheel and chariots to show up and to entertain people in the society. So I think that wheel is the first really important invention that we have in the human society. Based after the wheel, you can see that the things start getting shape, circle shape. And then we have the first evidence that we need a better way to calculate, and it was the abacus. Abacus was the first calculator that we have different versions of this computer, let's say, of this tablet, but it was super important. And based on abacus, we have many different logic that were developed based on that. And guess what? Cryptography, it was invented 600 years BC, 500 to 600 years BC. And it was invented as a way to communicate safely during wars. So it's super unfortunately that we have the wars, but in the computer history, the wars push us to create new stuff. So, and I think that war is a kind of competition. We are competing for land, we are competing for something, like we have different types of war, but in the end, we can see that we develop a lot of things because of the war. And then, more recently, in the 5th century BC, we had this Deus Ex Machina, which was a machine that could pick up someone and put in the stage to pretend that the person has some superpower. And this is a super nice evidence that we need programming and automation, because after that we start having like automated theaters, music box, and it's a very nice evidence that we need more stuff to program and to automate. And this Deus Ex Machina is just for entertainment and doing shows for the society, and then but people were confused when they see someone in the machine, super high and coming to the stage. They were confused if it was a superpower or it was just that machina that could make that thing. So it's super interesting because the people, they really believe in magic stuff in the stage because they don't have a lot of resources to study. And so we have a very nice generation, BC. It's amazing to see how we have all those smart people. They were thirst for discovering things, for establishing the math as it is. They were like super smart people. Like for example, Thales is the guy that discovered the static electricity. So it's amazing. He was just playing with something and scrubbing something, and he noticed that it was energized. So it was 700 years BC. And then we have Pythagoras with all the collaboration around mathematicians. And those guys, they were like, when you need to introduce, they said like, beyond a philosopher, he was also a polymath, or he was also a mathematician, a geographer, and astronomer. I don't know how those guys could come to the earth with so many knowledge already, so it's really impressive. And so I like, they were like doing, studying astronomy, they were studying mathematician, and they were creating things. So they were like builders at that time. And I love this Pythagoras cup, which is the moderation cup from Pythagoras. And he created this cup to teach his students about the need for compliance and moderation. I love that because I really love to drink wine, and compliance and moderation is something that is not really part of me. But then you have a line here in this Pythagoras cup, and then I can fill safely until this line, and then I can keep drinking. It's okay. We will need to clean up. Okay. And then if I go above the line, what happened is that, I start losing everything that I have in my cup. I will clean up after that, so don't worry. Okay, so I have nothing here. So this cup, it was like, he said, whoever wants much, he loses even the few. So it's impressive to see how they were really trying to create new stuff and teach the stuff for the new generation with devices like that. And this is a nice phrase from Plato, that God always geometrizes, which we have the contrast with Albert Einstein saying about quantum physics, that God does not play dice with us. So I love when this kind of smart guys start associating God with mathematician, because at that time they believed that the knowledge that we were developing, it was a God gift. So if you are calculating, it was because it was a gift from God, if you research on the ancient Greece. So Plato, he was a guy that he wanted to awake early and prepare himself for early lectures. So Plato developed the first awakening device, what we call as alarm clock these days. So I have a recording here. Let me see if the audio will go through the... Okay. So here I was in Greece. Okay, the audio is not working. So you can see here that we have these tanks with water, and then he can configure the water flow to fill up the tank from the above tank, the other tank, and the other tank, and then when it reached the right time, it starts whistling something like this. Isn't it nice? Huh? It's my live demo. This one always works. This one else. I love the Greek devices because they always work. I don't need internet. I don't need anything to do the live demo. So, yeah, that's the sound. So they were really smart guys, and they were really building stuff. And then, if you go to the history, you will see this one makes me believe that I am in the right direction, because it was a robot created 300 years BC. It was invented, the first robot, the first functional robot. And guess what? I met him. Haha. That was the automatic maid. And this robot was created to serve wine automatically to guests in rich houses. So if you were rich at that time, you could buy this robot, and then you could replace the human for a robot to serve your guests wine. And it was not that simple, because at that time, you need to mix up wine with water. So you can see that they have 2 bottles there inside, and then you put your wine glass in the robot hand, and based on hydraulic system, it starts mixing the water and the wine automatically. So think about, people are saying that generative AI will replace software developers, that you don't need to write code anymore. Come on. We are trying to replace someone that served wine for robot for more than 2,000 years. We didn't succeed. It's the opposite. You go to the restaurant, you have a specialist guy in wine that cannot be replaced. So it's something that you can use if someone just say that genAI will replace developers. I really don't believe on that. I think that it's an amazing resource. We will do more with less code. I really believe that genAI for software developers as a tool for low coding, but no coding is almost impossible. So that was a very nice age, because right after that, they discover the Antikythera. This is, oh man, Antikythera. Let's say it again. No. This was the first laptop created by humans. And it was a computer, analog mechanical computer, that has impressive functionalities. And guess what? This computer was used to predict the future. This computer was used to predict eclipse, to predict weather conditions for agriculture. So look at 200 years BC, we were creating computer for predictions. We didn't have electricity, but we do have a lot of knowledge for calculation and for doing like mechanical stuff. We were very good in mechanical stuff. So the first computer, 2,300 years ago, Antikythera. And we just discovered this computer 100 years ago. It was part of a shipwreck, and they were diving there, and they discovered a lot of things, not just the Antikythera, but many other things from this ship. And then we have a lot of people studying this computer to understand it better. We didn't finish, and we are far away from finishing all the things that this computer were able to do. We don't have information about who created that, where it was created, so it's still something that we are under development to understand. So we have a very nice move at YouTube. I have a small clip here, but I'm not going to play because we are having some issue with the audio in my computer. So, Wi-Fi, wireless communication. Look at that. 200 years BC, we have a way to communicate based on torches. So if you can see here, we have 5 torches in one side, 5 torches in another side, and then we have the Greek alphabet here. And then you can say, I need from the third row, I need the third letter. So 3 torches, 3 torches. So it was a way to communicate between castles, especially during the wars that you need to send messages from one castle to another castle. It was a fire sign, fire beacons. So super impressive. This one is more sophisticated, the Aena's hydraulic system. This one you have 2 guys, and they turn on the torch, and then once they turn on the torch, they both open the water, and then this machine started lowering this thing with multiple messages. And then if they turn on the torch, they just stop the hydraulic system, the water, and then they just pause and they can check which message they want to send. Super sophisticated, right? Huh? This is the TCP/IP 200 years before Christ. Huh? Oh my gosh. And so, that was amazing age, and something happened from the year number 1 to the year number 1000. If you look at the history, the technology history, almost nothing happened there. I don't know what they were doing, man. I think that it was a kind of, they were tired before Christ, and after Christ they said, okay, let's take a sabbatical period. But it took 1,000 years. Oh, man. Well, after that we have some inventions, but you will see like we have compass, Fibonacci, super important for many things, mechanical clocks, Leonardo da Vinci trying to fly, trying to dive, trying to create different stuff, printing press, and then in this year, the Portuguese discovered Brazil. What a great discovery, man. Thank you. And so, one thing that we have this guy, he was a mathematician as well, and he created this stepped Rockner calculator that was being used until we had electricity. So it's a mechanical calculator, complex, that could calculate faster the things and super specific for some kind of math. But we see that we keep doing progress on calculators until we had electricity. And then at this time, we had a very different thing. This is the mechanical turkey. Mechanical turkey, I have a small move here. It was a machine that this guy invented. And he said that he created a machine that can play chess automatically with any human and can win, is better than any human playing chess. And he tried to prove that it was a machine. And then it was super amazing. He tried to open everything there, and he was pretending that everything was a kind of mechanical stuff. And it wasn't. You have a human inside this machine playing the game, actually. So he got famous because he tried to pretend that he was creating a computer at that time. And the king was really impressed with everything, like, oh man, it looks like real stuff. And it was. You have a human inside that machine that he could hide, a very small, very, very tall, small human. And then it's super amazing. And guess what? What is related to my talk? Because I don't know how many of you know that we have a service at AWS, a very old service at AWS, called Mechanical Turk, Amazon Mechanical Turk. What you can do with Amazon Mechanical Turk, everything that artificial intelligence can do, but with humans. So if you have a chat and you are using artificial intelligence to moderate the images in that chat, but you want to make sure for some images that you don't have a lot of precision if that image is allowed or not allowed, so you can configure your cloud system to hire people around the globe to do things that artificial intelligence is doing, but doing manually. The other day, my friend was creating a coffee machine, an IoT coffee machine, and he was demonstrating this coffee machine in some events in Brazil. And then he just hired Mechanical Turk to answer a survey about coffee flavors and what people like more. So you can use it for image moderation, video moderation. You can use for bounding box, audio vision, language for sentiment analysis and emotion detection, but always using humans. So I love the name. I love the idea of using the Mechanical Turkey concept. And then the 1800, that's where the things start happening for us in terms of computer history. Look that, we have Beethoven, we have Fourier, we have Napoleon. They were living in the same age, in the same time. And actually, at that time, during the wars, you don't have computer, so they used to hire mathematicians to be the computer, the human computer. So Joseph Fourier, he was the mathematician for Napoleon during the wars. And Beethoven was a very famous music in the same scenarios. And then Fourier just developed the Fourier transform. At that time, oh man, this guy was really a smart guy. Basically, you can decompose a function, a sign, into a frequency. And we use Fourier all the time for multiple proposals, like when we are tuning a guitar, when we are doing image recognition, brain signal processing, when you go to this kind of machine, and also for deep learning, Fourier transform is super used for identifying common things in large data sets. So I think that it's part of the history, it's part of the computer history, it's part of the AI history. And we can do Fourier transform with Java. So I have here a super simple sketch. It's not a program, we call it a sketch. I'm using here processing, and then, I need to change my screen, sorry. So I have here processing, and, oh man, better now. Let me try to change my screen here for, now it's good, right? Okay. So what I have here, let me see, okay. Let's clear this guy here. So what I have here is a processing. Processing is a kind of domain-specific language for Java for doing visual and audio stuff. So it was created for artists, actually, to write their implementations. And then we can start playing this. Let me see how internet is performing here. Uh-oh. Okay. Help me, help me. Okay, here we go. So let me subscribe to playground/sound_j. Subscribe to this guy. And then we can play here. Okay, G. Okay, C. E. A. That's it. G, C, C, A. That's right. So here, actually my demo, I'm using this conversion from detected nodes using fast Fourier transform, and I'm sending IoT messages to the cloud. And actually, the second part of this demo was opening the Roblox game, and then I did an integration when I play uke, when I play G, the game player start wearing a hat. When I play A, it'll stop wearing the hat. So this is a super cool demo for nothing. You can do nothing with that, but I love that because it's really impressive, the possibilities that you have, you know? So I'm doing many, many different cool stuff at Roblox. One of the things that I did was a game called J-Castle. And this is a workshop that is available. I will share the link with you in the end of my talk. But the J-Castle game is a workshop that you can run in your company, in your Java user group, in your university, where you create a Roblox game, and in the back end, to control the game, we have a Quarkus application running to control the game. And then you need to go to the castle, and you need to solve some puzzles and some Java questions to succeed in the game, and then you can customize the game to do anything you want. And I did another integration with this game that I'm using. I created a kind of chat GPT inside Roblox. So you can use the Roblox chat to ask anything for genAI models using Amazon Bedrock, but you can do with any other cloud provider as well. So let's back to the presentation here. Okay. And then we have all the electricity journey. It was a long journey. We are super lucky to be born with electricity for sure. So we have the discovery of a battery from Alessandro Volta, the home law, the invention of relay, Morse code, Bell just invented the telephone at that time, and then Tesla and Thomas Edison with all the lamps and bulbs, and Tesla invented the alternator for converting DC to AC, and then we could start transmitting energy to further to more distant place. So, and then from here is actually when all the computer history that we are living just started. In 1884, this guy, Hermann Hollerith, he created the punch card tabulating system. And it was super convenient because at that time, in 1888, the US government, they had a super big problem in US because the population was super huge and they weren't able to do the census in a year. They were taking way more than a year. And what they did, they create a contest for the American society to propose new ways to calculate, to computate the data from the census. And at that time, Hollerith, he was working for the government in US, and he submit his machine, his punch card tabulating machine, and he won the contest, the US government contest. And look at the history. Because of that, they use and they succeed using his machine, his punch card machine. And then he created a company called Tabulating Machine Company. And this company, a little more than 10 years later, they merge with another 3 companies and they create the Computing Tabulating Recording Company. And in 1914, Thomas Watson, he assumed as a president of this company. And 1924, he renamed this company for International Business Machine, IBM. And then we have the first important computer company being founded at that time because of the competition around the census. And it was amazing because at that time, the cars were being invented, the airplane were being invented, and they all need more and more compute power because to do car and airplane engineer, you need to calculate a lot of things, you know. So, and then we start seeing computers in progress. We saw the IBM. IBM was a huge company serving many other customers beyond the US government. And then at the same time, 1927, we had the golden age of quantum physics. Look at this picture. How many Niels Bohr, Einstein, Marie Curie, and we have Planck, so many smart people in the same picture. You can see that the ones dressing purple, they don't have Nobel Prize. No one. Yeah, everybody is Nobel Prize. Almost everybody here is Nobel Prize. And with Marie Curie, at that time, she was the only one in the picture, the only woman in the picture, and the only one in the picture with 2 Nobel Prizes in the same topic. So it's really impressive to see what this lady did in the computer history and in the history at all. And so it was super important because at this time, Einstein, he had a conflict with Bohr. He he was like he wasn't satisfied with the results and all the theory that they have for quantum physics. And Bohr was a more executive guy, and he said, oh, let's push what we have to production, and we solve the things in production. It's okay, we will be fine. And Einstein was saying that phrase that, I love this image here. He was saying God does not play dice with the universe. So he really wants to be precise in the quantum effects. But then Bohr convinced him to push to production and solve the problems in production with quantum physics. And it was super important for the computer history because most of the semiconductors problem that we had developing the computers with transistors and silicon transistors, they were a quantum physics problem. If we didn't have the quantum physics, it would be impossible to create the computers as they are these days. So, more compute power, and then the government in the US, they have the Great Depression, and they create the Social Security, and they retire millions of US citizens. And then they need compute to calculate and have the retirement amount for each US citizen. I don't know here in Portugal, but in Brazil, when you have your pay stub in the end of the month, we call as olerite our pay stub. Still these days we call as olerite. Oh, give my olerite. It's your pay stub because of that history. At the same time, we have like banks. We have a Bank of America. We have American Airlines starting their business, and they all need computers. And guess what? IBM was there. They were like, woo, a lot of demand. And then the World War II just started as well, and demanding more computer power, demanding more computer storage, data, and everything. And it's super important part of the history here because this is the Great Depression. At this time, before the World War II, we have Alan Turing proposing the theoretical computer. We had the Atanasoff-Berry computer, the most important computer in the history for me, and the ENIAC. ENIAC was created by this guy, John Mauchly, and he visited in 1938 Atanasoff, the professor Atanasoff, and he was inspired by our Atanasoff-Berry computer to create the ENIAC. Why this is important? Because 10 years later, John Mauchly, he tried to create a patent for computers, and he didn't succeed. So we don't pay royalties because he visited Atanasoff and he saw his computer. And when he tried to register the ENIAC as the first computer, they have how to complain. And also the Suzy one, a German guy that was creating computers in his house, and then they didn't allow to register as a patent the computer. So we don't need to pay royalties because of that. So that's the reason why this part of the computer history is super important. And then, more images here. I just added the images so I can share with you. This is super cool. This is the Enigma in one side, and in the other side we have Colossus. The Enigma was the cipher machine, the Nazi cipher machine they were using during the Second War. And then we had to use computer power to try to break this machine. And we succeed. British guys, they created the Colossus computer based on tape pulley. They could process, and the guy, one Nazi, was operating the Enigma machine, and he did some mistake, and he leaked some data in the cipher machine that helped a lot the British guys to break this. And because of that, we shortened the Second War in 2 years because we break the Enigma machine code. So it's really amazing part of the history as well. And then we go to transistor era, where we have the first transistor created in Bell Labs. So William Shockley is the guy that is called the father of the Silicon Valley because he was working at Bell Labs. He was the inventor of transistor. But he was using germanium for the transistor. And then later, Tannenbaum created the first silicon transistor. And Shockley created the Shockley Semiconductor, his company, and he won a Nobel Prize with other 2 guys from his company for all the work that he did for semiconductors and for creating and studying the transistor effect. And he wasn't agreeing of using silicon instead. And so we had 8 guys that left his company, and they founded the Fairchild. They are called in the Silicon Valley as the Traitorous 8 guys. And then, to be shorter here, after that, the 2 guys were Robert Noyce and Gordon Moore, and they found Intel and Fairchild. They were working super hard to create this project for Apollo because we have the space race, and now the Apollo computers, they were built with integrated circuit from Fairchild and using memory from Intel later. And so here we have a woman that wrote all the Apollo guidance software. And in 1964, we had the first cloud with shared computer system and BASIC being invented. And then we just arrived in the Silicon Valley era where we had mouse and things like that. The internet was being invented. And then we had the companies that we already know, Microsoft, Apple, Oracle, and Sun Microsystems, and other super important company at that time. And to finish here, I bring here for you something from the Silicon Valley pub. You can come here, I will open, and you can pick up one. And then you have the Silicon Valley napkin that was created in this pub, so you can draft your business plan in this Silicon Valley napkin. So feel free to get one and pass to your colleagues. Okay, all right. A Silicon Valley napkin is my gift for you. So I really believe that now we have a lot of things that we can create. Now I believe that our basic needs to be a computer engineer is electricity, computer, and internet connection. And that's the reason why we are here. That's the reason why artificial intelligence is happening. So I think that those are the most important takeaways for us. It's like AI is just a consequence of things that we are inventing for more than 2,000 years. It's not that big thing. The big thing is that we are putting together electricity, computer, and internet. That's the big thing. And what I want you to think about is that we had electricity for a little bit more than 100 years. Look that. More than 2,000 years, and we just have electricity for 100 years. Look what we created in 100 years compared to all the computer history that I showed today. It was a lot. Imagine if someone created the electricity in the year number 500. Imagine if we have electricity for 1,000 years. What we could create and what we are going to create, what you are going to create, and how you will be part of the computer history. Think about. All right, thank you.